We'd like to begin with a word of prayer, and then if you would remain standing and join us in the pledge to the flag. I'm going to call on our Chief Deputy, Todd Grimes, to open the meeting with prayer. Todd?
Back, right here, please. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to get together and, Lord, bless each and every person that's here this morning, Lord, young and old. Lord, thank you, Lord, for all the blessings that you give us, Lord. Lord, let all the decisions and all the things that we do today, Lord, be something that is pleasant, that's pleasing unto your eye. And Lord, thank you so much for getting everybody here safe. And Lord, we ask that you provide safe travels as well home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Who will join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We certainly are pleased that you've chosen to join us today and participate in the affairs of Covington County. We are pleased to have Dr. Brock Kelly with us. Brock is an Opp native and presently serves as the president of LBW Community College, which is so vitally important to all of our communities. And so we welcome you, Brock. Appreciate you coming, and we'll grant you the floor for as long as you want.
Okay. All right. Chairman White, commissioners, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to address the commission this morning. First and foremost, being the president of LBW is a privilege and an honor. I've just completed my third year at LBW. It's gone quick, and we've done a lot of things. But we're laser focused on community outreach, community just support for everyone in the community, whether it's down in the elementary schools of creating awareness, the middle schools of creating exploration opportunities for careers in the service area that we serve, our county, and then dual enrollment at the high school level. We've grown significantly in the past 3 years, whereas we're looking at over 1,000 dual enrollment students now. 41% of our students are dual enrollment, and that's an extraordinary place to be for our community and our community college, and we're excited about where we're heading. But what I'm here today is to, on behalf of LBW, to thank you guys for the commitment that you made back last year to ensure the vision that we have at LBW for community outreach. And one of those things that you guys committed to was the paving of the trail. And it may just seem to you guys and to a lot of people as 1.7 miles of pavement, but it's more than that to us. It's more than that to the community. That trail serves as an opportunity for parents to get out with their kids to be able to learn to ride bicycles, to learn to ride scooters. And when I walk out of my office at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, when I walk around campus and seeing the joy of the people that are walking that trail and enjoying the fruits of what you guys committed to, it speaks volume to what we have in this community, and I thank you guys. If we look at it, yeah, it's just a trail, but when you look at it from the whole big picture, I look at it as an opportunity that we can get people on campus to learn about LBW, create the awareness of who we are. There's still people in our community that have no idea what LBW is, what we have to offer, and I think of it as that 8, 9, 10-year-old that is learning to run, to walk, to get outdoors and exercise. They're learning that awareness of LBW, and in the long term, what that turns into when they graduate high school and they're looking at what my next steps are. Well, I know about LBW. I learned about LBW a long time ago when I was 8 and 9 years old walking that trail, and I want to go and I want to learn a trade, and I want to expand my knowledge and my skills. And in the long run, what you guys have what you guys have committed to and you have done is long-term, you have helped our workforce in our community and in our county. And I want you guys to know that we thank you from the bottom of our heart at LBW. You guys' support means the world to us, and I don't want you guys to take lightly what you guys did for us. And thank you, and I invite the entire community up to LBW because we want to be the support mechanism for workforce development and skills training in this community. So, I don't know if this is appropriate. Any questions?
Yeah, well, the commissioners may have questions. Anybody?
No,
have
I was just
questions?
gonna say, I know we didn't do it. I appreciate you recognizing the commission, but I think the city of Andalusia has done a lot out there also, and I like to recognize them because I think they're actually putting lighting all the way around.
They
I
are.
seen their crew out there the other day, and it does look.
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
It's an opportunity. It gives an opportunity for people to get out there when it's cooler. There are timers on those lights, and it will close. There are certain rules on those on the trail, but it's just it's a beautiful place. It's always been a beautiful place, but now we've enhanced it.
I would say that I've had the privilege of being around LBW for the last 30 years regularly, and we've had some good leadership over the years, some great staff, but Dr. Kelly's vision is going to take LBW to the next level, and I think it's going to pay great dividends for our county as a whole. So we do appreciate you and your team for all that you're doing there. So anybody else have a comment or a question? Lynn?
Yes. You were talking about dual enrollment. That's from all the county schools are attending some of it?
Absolutely. So 3 years ago, we were able to offer Career Tech dual enrollment for free. The academic courses they had to pay for. Then it rolled out 2 years ago that we could provide STEM classes as well as Career Tech dual enrollment. And then last year, now we are able to offer all classes for free dual enrollment.
It's wonderful. What about Career Tech? What are your offers out there?
I will say,
Yes. Greg gets real.
so there's
agitated with me
two
sometimes.
parts. There's two parts to Career Tech. You have your associate's degree pathway. You have your certification that are credit bearing
We're
courses.
talking about here in Andalusia, you're including ops as
I'm
well.
including ops. So
Okay.
as LBW, we service 5 or 6 counties. We have 4 locations, 4 campuses. Our traditional students that are transferring are typically on your Andalusia campus. That's where most of our transfer courses are. We have child development, which is a career tech pathway, but we have articulation agreements with Troy University so that students can seamlessly transfer. Our forestry department has grown over 225% the past 3 years. And compared to where that was in 2015, 2016, that's extraordinary. We have a great work-based learning plan that we're going to implement here in the near future with our forestry department. I know not many people know this, but I will say that our legislative session this past session was really, really good. We were able to receive funds that we're going to be able to do some renovations to, and one of the projects that we're working with architects right now is a construction labs program that will be, or construction labs building that will be placed on the Andalusia campus. That will consist of dual enrollment construction, our associate's degree construction program, as well as any kind of non-credit construction program that, let's just say plumbing or welding, that a business wants to partner with us, non-credit. Workforce development side of things, right now we offer what we call skills for success. We're able to offer workforce development programs to companies for free. Individuals, we're able to offer those trainings for free to them. And it's called Skills for Success. That funds come from our legislators in Montgomery. You guys have been a great partner in the implementation of our CDL program that we are able to offer now. And right off the hand, I can't quote how many people we have put through our CDL program, but it is a significant amount that we have put in, and it has been a game changer for us.
That was the part I was most interested in, was job skills. I think that's something that every community needs more of is hands-on skills that I think we've kind of lost in the more recent years. So that's wonderful news to hear that you're going to train folks to do things that carpentry or plumbing or electrical work or those type of things that we just don't have those folks that you can find anymore.
Absolutely.
So-
And I'll give you one example, and tell me, stop me, I'll leave, but I do have a nursing pending I need to get to, but I could talk for hours on what we're doing at LBW because I'm so excited about
And I think folks need to know.
what we're trying to do. But I will say that with our rollout of Skills for Success, we were able to go down to Florella and help try to meet a need that they may have in the food and beverage industry. They called us and we were able to go down there, and now we're trying to set up something for them. Had it been 2 years before Skills for Success, we didn't have that program, nor would we have been able to offer help. Now any business can call us and we can try to create the curriculum that they need. And we're committed to all the businesses, no matter what they do. We're seeing a lot of businesses, go to a, upskilling, and that's what we're trying to do. So there's more to come, and it's going to be an exciting time here in the next 2 or 3 years, and hopefully the community college system and LBW decides to keep me.
I know you have a van or an RV or something. You want to share that?
Yeah, so when I came to LBW, I came from K-12 education. I saw the need that, what we were trying to do, we were trying to get a student in 11th and 12th grade and try to pick a pathway for them and say, hey, you need to do this, or you're good at your hands, or the idea that, hey, you may not be going to college, which I truly believe is the wrong statement for anyone to make. I think college is for everyone. It just looks different for everyone, and that's why we try different pathways for everyone at LBW. But we, in the fall of 22, we bought and designed an RV, and we have named it the Career Cruiser. So the plan with that is to go to our elementary schools, our middle schools, and each month will be a different type of career, and we're going to outfit the Career Cruiser with different types of hands-on activities that students can learn about the career opportunities in their community. And so we're developing that curriculum and what that looks like, but that's it's a huge thing. And I always tell people the worst thing that we can do for someone in education is that sixth grader who wants to be an artist and has the skills to be an artist. We allow that student to graduate high school thinking an artist is the same thing that they thought an artist was in sixth grade. There are companies out there hiring artists and skills that an artist has daily, and it doesn't look like an artist that paints on the wall. It could be in a manufacturing, it could be architects, it could be the construction program. And those are the type things that we want to create at our lower elementary and our middle schools, as well as at our high schools. And I will tell you that all of our school districts that we work with are very, very supportive of what we're trying to do. They welcome us in, and I can't, the county schools, Opp, Andalusia are terrific. And, I just talked to Chris Thompson the other day, and we're just going to try something, and we're just going to throw it out there and see if it works. And, if it does, great. If it doesn't, then, we'll go back to the drawing board. But that's what it's going to take, is to just throw darts against the wall, see what sticks, and that's what we're willing to do.
Okay. I will tell you that I've had the privilege of sitting with LBW with a welding employer. We've sat with health employers, and I will vouch for them as being willing to work with the local community in whatever area to try to enhance the offering of employees and skills that the employees have. So
Absolutely.
we do appreciate y'all. I know you need to go, you got a meeting in Opp, you don't want to miss a penny. Mike, did you have a?
One quick thing, don't forget about that excellent restaurant out there, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
We do. Yeah, there's 2 restaurants now on the Andalusia campus, and we're looking at doing a micro mart in Opp, and So, no, we do not own that restaurant or the rights to that restaurant. It's a third party, but we work simultaneously with them. So, it's a good invention. But the biggest thing, what we were trying to do is public traffic. We want the traffic on LBW's campus. So we want people to learn about LBW and know that we are here, and not just as an institute on top of the hill.
All right. Dr. Kelly,
Real quick.
we appreciate you being here after Tommy gets
No,
started.
no,
with you.
I-
Will.
you
All
know
right,
what,
Tommy, I don't want you to miss it.
If these guys overlook it, I can speed. So, go ahead.
Not to take away from the educational amenities that you've been speaking of, but back to the trail. You said you walked that trail when you were 8 or 9 years old. Probably tripped on a bunch of roots.
That is
but
true.
They're no longer there.
That is true.
It's made a pathway for the young families, young mothers to push a stroller, or older adults that may need assistance with a cane or a walker. It has enhanced their quality of life to be able to make that trail part of their health.
Yeah, absolutely.
I walk the trail
Absolutely.
with my young children. That's how
So-
good it is.
So Commissioner Gahey, I mean, you and I were standing out there with Chairman White, and actually just so happened my family walked by and they had the scooters out, and so it was them, and then we right after that was another family, and then right after that were two older women and that speaks volume to what that trail provides.
And it's a community trail. It's not LBW trail. It's for the community.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we're here for. So everything that we have is just public grounds to a certain degree. So
Dr. Kelly, thank you again for being here. We
Absolutely.
appreciate
Thank
the
you,
great
guys.
effort y'all are making. Thanks for giving us an update. We'll have you
absolutely.
back
Anytime you
anytime.
guys need anything or want to call me, just call me.
We'll do it.
All right, thank you, guys.
so
All
much.
right. Can I scoot out?
All right. Thank you. One other thing I'd like to do before we get into the heart of our agenda is take the privilege of introducing Morgan Arrington. Morgan is our new county attorney. Morgan's sitting here beside me. Morgan grew up in Andalusia, Alabama, and graduated from Pleasant Home School. After attending Huntington College, she moved to Washington, D.C. and worked a few years with the U.S. Department of Treasury, and then later returned to Alabama to the University of Alabama School of Law and obtained her law degree, later clerked in the 15th Judicial Circuit as law clerk to Honorable Truman Hobbs, and then worked for almost 5 years as an assistant general counsel for the Alabama Medicaid Agency. And then, more importantly, from our perspective, my perspective is she served as general counsel in the Association of County Commissions of Alabama, where she provided legal direction for the association and assisted administrators like Karen and commissioners like Michael Smith and sheriffs on occasion and others, helping us do our job correctly and appropriately and above board. So there's probably only 2 or 3 other people in the state of Alabama that could equal what Morgan brings to the table from a county business perspective. And that was one attorney that retired before you got there, and I suppose Ken Webb, who has been in it all his life from the insurance side of things. But anyway, she is an extraordinary attorney, brilliant attorney, comes with just a great deal of experience, and so we're thrilled. Morgan, welcome to your first meeting.
Thank
Live
you.
meeting.
Thank
All right.
you.
Appreciate you being here. So we'll move right on. In the next item on the agenda is public comment from citizens, and we have 2 scheduled for today. Shannon Wiggins and then Matthew McClellan, both from the Okie Ridge community, and they're aware that we limit public comment to about 3 minutes. Try to be considerate of that, but we'll invite those 2 up. Whoever is set to go first, you can go the order we have it, or you can flip a coin, whatever. But thank y'all for being here today, and it looks like you brought a crowd with you. So.
Probably not near the crowd we was looking for, but I do appreciate y'all letting us come and speak. And I'm going to be very brief because Matt probably is not. So, but I do appreciate all of y'all for letting us come. This is going to be quick, as I said. In a world often plagued by deception and dishonesty, it is crucial that we uphold and embrace the timeless principles of truth found within the pages of the Bible. Deceit is a cunning enemy, undermining trust, fracturing relationships, and eroding the very foundations of our communities. The scripture teaches us the value of integrity, urging us to speak truthfully and walk in righteousness. Proverbs 12 reminds us the Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. Let us therefore strive to be people of truth, holding fast to honesty in our words and our actions. The Apostle Paul in Ephesians 4 implores us to put away falsehood and speak truth to our neighbors, emphasizing that we are all members of one body. Deceit seeks truth to divide, but truth binds us together, fostering genuine connections and fostering a spirit of unity and love. In Proverbs, we learn that the integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed in duplicity. Deception may offer short-term gains, but in the consequences is far-reaching and destructive. Let us therefore choose the path of truth, knowing that it leads to blessings and favor in the sight of God. Embracing honesty liberates our souls, frees us from chains of deceit, and allows us to walk in the light of God's grace. While the promises of solar energy hold some potential for sustainable development, we must ensure that it aligns with our shared values. Forests and wetlands are not a collection of trees and bodies of water. They are the heart and the lungs of our community. As we navigate the complexities of such a major project like this 2,400-acre project going on in my community, surrounding my home, and encompassing actually most of my community, may we remember the words of Jesus in Matthew 22. Jesus said, "You shall love your Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." In conclusion, let us commit ourselves to living according to these biblical principles, upholding the banner of truth and resisting the temptations of deceit. By doing so, we contribute to a world built on trust, respect, and love, a world where honesty reigns supreme and deceit is overcome by the power of truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Nice to see you guys again. This feels like we were just here, but today we're on a different subject, and I'm not going to take up much of your time. I can stay within the 3 minutes. Really what we came to talk about was this little piece of propaganda right here. This is called Notch Solar Electricity. This is actually a piece of material these guys put out that they want to have as a PowerPoint for you. They want to show you how clean and abundant energy actually works. So if you read through their little handout here, I'm sorry, I don't want to miss anybody. This thing says, abundant, clean, cost-effective, carefully sited, and everyone benefits. Why solar electricity? Abundant. So solar power is abundant. It comes anywhere. It lands outside here, it lands in my yard, it lands on the 3,000 acres that we're talking about. Abundance is solar, right? But it abundantly falls on my roof in my yard just like it does the 3,000 acres over here. There's no reason why we need to cut down 3,000 acres to put down something that is called abundant, which means it's everywhere. It's clean. People at this company right here at Ortis would like you to believe that solar power is clean. Clean is not clean. If you have to take 1,400 degrees Kelvin to melt the silica to create a metal ingot, that ingot is what these go for, all right? Inside of these solar photovoltaic cells, it takes 1,400 degrees Kelvin. I'm not talking about Fahrenheit. We're talking about thousands of degrees to melt this so-called silica sand. They want you to believe silica sand is what's in here. That's what the silica comes from, silica sand. When you heat something up to almost 4,000 degrees temperature, it's no longer the same material. It's called a chemical change. You look it up. Anybody who's had chemistry can tell you exactly what I'm talking about. A chemical change comes from burning. That's what's happened. Clean energy doesn't come from burning anything. If they're telling you burning fossil fuels is what the problem is, you're still burning the same stuff. You're burning something to get something else. We're having a chemical process here. Clean is not so clean. None of this stuff is made in America. There's not one factory in the United States that produces these ingots that goes inside of these things. Not one. Look it up if you don't believe me. 2024, there's supposed to be a factory that's being built in Georgia right now to produce the only ones in the United States. I'm not saying they don't build silica or this kind of stuff here, because they do. It's for chips, for silica chips you've all heard about. Well, where do most of all these things come from? Where have you ever heard about silica chips? Taiwan and China. Why do they do it there? Because of the environmental impact that this stuff has. It's completely illegal to do it here because it's that dangerous. I don't see how you can call something clean when it's so dangerous you can't even make it in the country that's actually selling it, all right? That's not clean. That's a manufactured lie, and it's called marketing right here. In certain times, they called marketing like this propaganda. Now, you've all heard that word. It's being used a lot these days, and propaganda can be seen throughout this page, throughout this whole book. The word clean, abundant, cost-effective. That's very true. It actually can be more cost-effective over the long term to get solar energy. But cost-effective doesn't mean that it has to be set up in a 3,000 acre area to pump it to all of our houses. You can get it at your own house. Nobody needed that. I had it at my house in Pensacola. What did we do? Exactly the same thing that this company says they do. They sell this stuff back to you. You produce it from your roof or from your solar. It goes to the main line, and then they sell it back to everybody else. You're producing it just like this company would be. So there's no point in them having to be the ones that actually produce it and then sell it to you when you could actually get it and sell it to them. It's the same thing. This is a money ploy, and they're here in our county to take the resources. That's a fact. This is about resources. It's called the resources that we have in our county. We are asking you guys to help protect us right now. We asked for it the first time. We need protection, and we need leadership from the people that are sitting in these chairs. These chairs, your chair as well. You're the lawyer here. I am so glad to see you here, because there's a lot that we need to look at. What our community is asking for today is a moratorium, a 6 months moratorium, so that we can have time to explore these projects and to find out what is actually the best thing for our county. What can the lawyers find that we can structure something that actually helps our county more? Let me show you what they offer. This is what Origin Solar says that they're offering. This is their words, not mine. $24 to $28 million over the course of a 50-year project. Now, I don't know how long you guys think this project's for. Any of you who have talked to some of the Origin people, you know it's 40 to 50 years. 40 to 50 years is what they're talking about. This is a power plant in our community that's set to be there for 50 years. I don't know about you, but that's not our community anymore when a power plant is there. It's a power plant now, and we just live around it. So here we have $24 to $28 million over the course of 50 years, 600 jobs. Now, how many times have you guys drove down our road? Ms. Angie, I don't know how many people actually go to the church over at Oak Ridge, but have you ever seen?
It's around 300 is total.
300 on a Sunday, all right? So we don't have traffic problems on a Sunday with 300 people. But how many times have you seen 600 people on that road every day going to the same place? Do you know what 600 people is going to look like on those 2-lane roads and the dirt roads down there? It's going to look like a traffic jam. It's never going to go anywhere for the people who are actually trying to get out of there. We're talking about 600 other people coming to one spot down there. We're talking about massive sets of infrastructure here. There's not enough infrastructure. The roads are not properly set up down there. The road that I live on is a 2-lane road that the grass has enclosed it so much, it's barely 2 lanes at all. We swerve to get around each other. I live off of Leon Wiggins Road. You guys can ride down it all the time. It's never been resurfaced since my lifetime. I think the only road that I can think of that's been resurfaced is the one just off of Leon Wiggins Road, which got the blacktop and the old pavement mixed together. We haven't even resurfaced the roads in those areas, and we're trying to get 600 more people a day to come down there and drive to our places, to drive down the roads that have never been resurfaced. Now, I talked to Origis. I talked to Nathan Rogers. I know some of you have too. And when I talked to him about these roads, he didn't even think of that. They hadn't even crossed that bridge. They're too busy just thinking about how they got to cut down 3,000 acres and get all this stuff up there. They haven't thought far enough ahead of them to even get to the part about the roads. We're asking for a moratorium because this project hasn't been thought out far enough to even imagine how they're going to get there. Now that if they can't get there, how are they going to imagine the fact that they have like a fire problem down there? We don't have anything for fire. So what we're going for, we need a moratorium. We need a moratorium for 6 months that holds up this project and any other one that are in this county to give us time to put the safety and security of the actual people that live here first. We're the voters. We're the actual people that are actually gonna either vote you back in or not. We have nothing to do with this project. We don't benefit from this, as this paper says right here. Everyone benefits. Now, you ask these people sitting right out here how they benefit. That's what we want to know. How do we benefit off of a project that we're standing here telling you over and over, we don't benefit from this, it's degrading our community, and we're actually up here fighting to save our community with our own time. We don't get paid for this. I don't get paid to do research on this stuff. Shannon doesn't get paid to do anything off this. Who do you think is getting paid off this? Origis Energy. That's who's getting paid. You want to get our resources? They should be established for the people who actually live here. Again, we're asking for a moratorium on 6 months for any solar project going on in this county till we can get an actual best case scenario for our county. We need safety, there's fire, there's water issues, there's road problems. All of these are the issues they have to solve before that project can even be underway. And what we're asking for is that we have all that stuff established and that we set ourselves up to actually benefit from this, not get what they give us. We set up the standard. We don't just take what they're giving us, because $24 million over the case of 50 years is nothing. And what it said between 14 and $18 million, that's the amount of tax revenue. I'm not sure if you know how much that actually is. $14 million divided by 50, which is this number right here, $14 to $18 million. That's the amount of revenue for 50 years. That's $280,000 a year. At 18 million, that's $360,000 a year. That's not enough. I'm sorry. They're degrading my community and all these older folks that taught me about our community and about how to live right and righteously. Right there in that community. They're gonna upgrade it or uproot it and move it out of the way just for a power plant. $360,000 a year for 50 years is not enough. It's not enough, guys. We need to set up a moratorium so that we determine what they pay, not somebody else.
Okay. Thank you, Matthew. Commissioners, anybody have comments or questions on?
A moratorium, like I said, I'd like to ask Morgan, is that something that we can do? If it don't, we can't tell the people what they can do that own the land, I understand that. But it's something we can do to help protect some of these citizens, especially if it does come in as a barrier around their house or something like that, because I'm not sure what is the legal aspect of that.
Well, a county commission does not have the same planning and zoning authority that you might think that a city has, for example, or a town. So without any planning or zoning authorization in the unincorporated area, I am not familiar with any type of relief that the commission could offer the adjoining landowners. I am unfamiliar with any legal mechanism that would allow you to institute a moratorium unless or until this project becomes a governmental project, one in which the commission is involved. It's either on land that you own or you're being asked to assist in some way with supporting the project. There's not a way for you to be directly involved through a moratorium or otherwise.
So if they come and ask for abatements, that would be them asking for assistance in it, really truthfully. So at that
Yes.
point,
That's right.
or could you do it prior to, or how?
If the commission was being asked to come to the table and to do abatements or any other type of incentives that maybe any of your other developing businesses in the community that come and ask for in that same way, then yes, you would be able to consider number one, whether to engage in any of those awards of incentives or abatements, and then if so, what the conditions would be for those. And in that sense, there may be the opportunity to extend the timeline.
And just go a step further, say if they ask for abatements and say if they got them, then you have where you can say something, but if they don't get them, or can you still as a commission ask for a moratorium to?
No, if this is a private enterprise, if it is not involving this body or the property that is entrusted to this body, then, or seeking some type of abatement or incentive, then this would be a private affair that would need to be handled in the civil arena.
So what I'm hearing is that if we're approached requesting abatements, then we can vote up or down there to grant the requested amount or something different. Or we can vote no, not to grant any abatements. And then it's going to be up to the company or developer to decide if they can move forward without the incentives in their financial.
I said at the beginning when we first found out about this, and I found out from Mr. Vesey. Took me a second. Was on my Monday afternoon. I told everybody at 7:30 in the afternoon when I first found out about it. He called me asking me about it. Didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue. I think the company has actually done a poor job of public relations, done a poor job of communication with this commission because they've kind of done everything behind the scenes, to my opinion, and not come forth to address these people. I did understand this morning that they may have a meeting set up. I think Tommy had mentioned it. They had mentioned something about, he had seen it somewhere on Facebook or
Saw it on
something.
Facebook, heard it on the radio.
For the community
First I
out
had
in
heard
Okie Ridge on the 21st. Okay. Thank y'all.
What time?
On August 21st.
6 p.m.? Okay.
But I have also, and I think Ms. Lynn has mentioned Road Through the Wing project before, there are some residents down there that their house, and I understand again, we don't have regulations on how they can do it, but some of these people's houses is completely surrounded by it. Now, right now, it don't look quite as bad from their house because there's a few leaves on the trees. But come fall of the year, that 100-foot buffer, that's all they see is, and I would like to help support these people if it doesn't stop or it does come through ever how, to help try to protect their interest in their property if we can meet with Origins. Like I said, I know that they're supposed to be coming again the 21st of August to do something. Would I want to look at it every day in my yard? No. So I could see that I'd understand their problem, and it would be mine also. So whatever we can do to help with whatever we can to a certain degree, I understand we can't go tell the people who sold the property, well, you can't sell the property because it's your personal property, do what you want to. But to try to help the interests of these people, if it does happen to come in, to protect their area. Who's going to want to buy a house when they're looking at a 1,000-acre solar farm right behind it? That's a big concern of mine. Everybody says, well, the property value is not going to go down. It may not show up, but it's going to be hard for them to sell a home. So does it go down or does it not? That's the big key on it.
Anybody else?
She raised her hand.
If Okie Ridge community had been an incorporated township, and you're not, are you?
No.
Would that have made a difference in the moratorium, being able to, for them as a township to have obtained it?
The planning and zoning authority for municipalities, so towns or cities, is vastly different than county.
So unless it had been set up prior?
No, I want to be very clear that I can't say for sure that a town would necessarily have it, but I can say for sure that the county does not, and that a municipality has more, but whether they would have the specific authority, I do not know.
I vote Mr. Sammy Brown can be the mayor.
I second that.
Matthew, you had a question or comment?
I did. It was actually for, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Morgan Arrington.
Ms. Arrington. My question for you was, you just mentioned that if they were to ask for some kind of assistance, so there's no fire suppression out there, there's no water out there, their roads need to be redone. If they were to ask for our assistance with, let's say, the roads, or how are we going to get the water out there, wouldn't that be assistance from the county? Because that would be assistance, and that would be a reason for moratorium, because there's no water for them to get over there. And there are also those roads, you can't get down them. There's bridges they would have to cross with 18-wheelers that they'll never get across. Those bridges have to be changed before they could actually be used, so they'll have to find only a couple of ways in and out of there.
So, to answer your question, to be able to utilize public services, that's not asking for something in the legal sense that I mean. If they were asking for upgrades to those services specifically to benefit, this industry, that's where it changes. No different than if it was just a private citizen moving in and purchasing this property. their access to driving down that road or to tapping into the services, the public services that already exist. That's not requesting something in the nature of an incentive or an abatement. More along the lines of property tax abatements, any other taxes that could be produced off of a revenue-generating business in the unincorporated area is what I was talking about as it relates to requesting incentives.
But using county funds to upgrade the roads for them to get there, because those roads are not, like I'm saying, we're gonna have to upgrade the roads just for them to be able to get in and out of there. There's, other than like Lindsay Bridge Road, every other road leading in there will have to be upgraded. It'll have to be fixed, have to be widened. They're not even gonna be like a normal sized road right now. The roads are just, they've had grass grow into them for so long in this area. If you haven't rode out there, you might not exactly see what I'm saying. But if you go down some of those small roads out there, you'll see these are very narrow, very small roads. They're gonna need replacement, upgrading, all kinds of stuff, just so that this project can even start. And I don't know how we could say that it wouldn't be asking for something if we use county funds to upgrade roads or bridges or fire suppression or our water system for that. That's all I was thinking, that actually had to be part of that. But if I'm wrong, okay.
So let me understand this completely, and that way the commissioner, because I know Ms. Lynn's gonna ask if I don't.
I'm ready, just go ahead.
So really the only way to grant a moratorium is if they come to ask us for something, or we grant something,
There's no legal authority for this commission to grant a moratorium today.
what would be
Absent-
legal authority?
I think what she said, my interpretation is that the only authority we have is if they approach us requesting an abatement of taxes, and we can vote that up or down. We've not been asked. But that's the authority that we have. We have no authority to permit or delay or anything else. We just don't have that authority. The legislature has chosen to retain that from counties across the state. They haven't given counties home rule and that sort of thing. Municipalities are different. They can pass ordinances and so forth. Commissions have very, very, very limited ordinance or taxing authority. You may know we can tax only for education, for instance. And that's about the only thing that we have. We can grant abatements, not on education taxes, but other taxes. And I expect the company to ask us for abatements. I expect the commission to say no, which is really what we have the authority to do. The commission may not, but that's what I expect. And then they'll have to make the decision if that failure to abate impacts their cost enough that they can't put the project in. And I don't know the answer to that. So I saw a question back here. Yes, sir.
I understand that at this point, y'all have no control over it right now. But there is a meeting apparently going on the 21st. If possible, if the commissioners could possibly show up and go on the record saying, hey, I don't think abatements are a good idea, and just head this thing off to start with would be a good idea. Yeah, y'all are willing.
I was at the first, and I'll be at this, and y'all in my district, so I represent y'all. So
Why don't you go ahead and make that announcement to everybody when that meeting is, where everybody.
Yeah, so it's August 21st. There's going to be a meeting at the church, Okie Ridge Church. You said 6 o'clock? It's 6 p.m. It's going to be with some of the representatives of Borges. They want to come out and talk to us about their project. At this point, it's a little late, but that's what their game plan is, to come out and explain to us they want to educate us. That's what this whole piece of marketing is right here. This is a marketing ploy to educate you on how great solar is for them, because it's not great for you. It's only great for you if it's actually benefiting you. So this is their marketing ploy for it. This is straight off of their stuff, not mine.
And these letters went out to some people got them, some people didn't. There's so much, there's nothing in that great, they don't have the church on the same side of the road.
Yeah, it's
that
on
it's
the different
supposed to be
side.
on. So
Yeah.
they're not real sure where they're at, I don't think.
Well, that just goes to show you where the project really is.
Tom?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Morgan, but what you said was that if we grant tax abatement, then we are in position to make a moratorium. Is that correct?
Well, if they come to you and ask for something, you're in a position to consider the ask and consider what the terms of that could be. So we would have to dig into it. Don't want anyone to leave thinking that I am telling this commission that you absolutely would then have the ability, but we would have the ability to look, and we would not be at the same stop sign that I'm telling you that we're at today. We would have to look at it. I can't answer that question for you today, but I'd be happy to look into it. That's the only pathway that I am familiar with that would give you any type of
Leverage.
voice in this matter, because at this juncture, I have no authority to support you giving any relief.
Mr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
What Origins is not addressing is, like Matt says, in California and Nevada, where they put these huge solar fields in, they pumped out millions and millions of gallons of water out of the underground aquifers till they drained them. And the community around them was out of water, and they had to wait till those aquifers filled back up. So they're not telling you, Matt, that's where the water is going to come from. They're going to pump it out of our underground aquifers. And the other thing is that Origis would not address with me and said acted like they didn't know anything about it, is the fact that these solar panels leak cadmium and lead within the first couple of months. From the rain running on these solar panels, it leaks it out into the soil. The lithium batteries, the toxins that come out of those, we know that these toxins not only travel down into the underground aquifers, but they also migrate horizontally, as in the case of Ford Motor Company and Reynolds in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Those toxins migrated as far as 2 miles. I have a 200-foot well. I don't want that stuff getting into my well. And so the main thing is we need to address what's going to happen with our underground aquifers.
There is some permitting, I think, that ADEM will do, a state agency. So there are possibly some other places that the community can go and get some help, at least answering questions or regulating to make sure that they don't create unnecessary burdens on the
Let me ask you,
environment.
what is our board of commissioners set up for if you have no say-so over, these are foreign companies. Origis is owned by Anton. It's a European country based in Paris. They want you to think their headquarters is in Miami, or they have an office in Miami. But it's a European company that is coming in here, destroying our land, our underground aquifers, our landfills. These solar things are only good for 25 to 30 years, and once they're finished, our landfills are going to be so full of this debris, they're not recycling it. If you look, just pull up the history of Origis. Look what happened in Australia when Origis didn't do what they said they would do with the Queensland government. I mean, we need to do more research. We don't need to just let them come in and do what they want. We got to live around it. You know, and maybe none of you guys live out there next to it, but I do, and these people do.
I have relatives that do.
And the heat above this solar field can reach 185 degrees. Think about how much that heat is going to be put off to the surrounding communities.
Somebody in the back, I think, had a question.
Well, all right. Everybody knows those solar panels are gonna go out. Now, if it's like the wind turbines up in Illinois and all that, it's taking about 4 times as much money to take them down and get rid of them, and they don't have anywhere to store the crops because they're not biodegradable. Now, and like she said, we haven't got any ground around here to store anything underground that will leak out of his panels.
Yeah.
And they gonna go out sooner or later.
I think all the comments, all the research that's been done, all the questions raised are valid and certainly would be appropriate at the meeting on the 21st with the company. who has the ability to answer these a lot better than we do. Yes, ma'am.
Do y'all have any authority when these panels go out, the company files bankruptcy, and they just leave the panels there? Since this is on timber company land, do y'all have any authority to make somebody clean it up?
That question's been raised. What?
I would think they would have the bond that would have to clean it. That would be something that would be set where a bond issue or something down the road, if it does, they would have to have something that would guarantee the cleanup of it. That would be,
The question's been raised in general conversation, and that's what I heard as well. They will post a bond towards cleanup. But again, I would ask that question of them on the 21st. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say one thing that's been overlooked here, and I can address this to the sheriff. He has a deputy out there that helps patrol that area, and they do a good job. With that many more people coming in, now, we don't have 600 people that's going to get those jobs. We have hardly enough people that work now. So you got to bring in other people. And they're not coming from Georgia and Tennessee and Florida. They're coming from California and other places. Now, safety is one of my big concerns because we live alone, and I just don't think Blake has got enough money in order to be able to take care of all the elderly people that's out there, the family peoples. We got homes out there. Now, they may not be much worth much, got that backwards.
The 600 jobs, I assume you were talking about construction jobs primarily, right? And after that, it's not a big job creator as a project. It's 4 or 5 jobs.
no, but I think the one at Wayne's gonna have, what, 3 to 5 at the end.
Well, I'm just pointing out the safety aspect to it, and it's more of a human aspect than it is all this other stuff. So, that's what I think about. So if you got a mother out there, you might not want it to go in either.
But, understood.
Because I have talked to other people around.
Kenneth, do you have anything?
Oh, no, not really, other than the fact that, you ask us what can we do or not do. And our hands are tied to what we can actually do. And it gives us an open life, really, to have property and do what we want to on our land and kind of live the way we want to live till something like this comes along. And then we want somebody to help us. Well, it's hard, this goes back, I'm just going to pass the buck, to your federal level. This is federally funded. It's done through the federal guidelines of getting permitted and everything that gets done. And it's above us, and that's how we can't get into the picture because we're not a part of it. And they have more jurisdiction and reins on what goes on than we do, so they're supporting the monies like the windmills and all that. That was federally funded. It was something that the government's pushing on people. And I see your points. I understand your points. And I'd be frustrated too. But then again, what we can do is so limited to federal powers. We got certain things, we can do things through our legislation, but even our legislators on state levels don't have they don't have a lot of power to do from your representatives and senators. They're limited. They can't do much because they got the federal level is over them. So it's kind of hard. It starts up here, and they know that these people are just nowhere else. They know what they're doing. They're set up, and this is the way they do business. And it's not to me. Is it fair? No. And so that's my point.
I think, Ken, though, that you do have the power, and I think I know how you feel when power lies in the abatements. And we had talked, and I feel like I said, I know how you feel about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there are no abatements, they're going to go to the next community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing you can do. You can go ahead and band together now and tell them what you need, no tax abatements.
I would like to ask Morgan, and this is going to continuously come up, not just for Okie Ridge. It come up when they've done it down in Wing. It's come up at Okie Ridge. Is there any way the commission can form a board per se that would be over any kind of project like this coming in, or any way you try to?
So, not without attempting to pass a local law that allows for more involvement in zoning and building.
And
So
a local law is not done at our level, that's the legislature would have to take that action
That's
to
right,
adopt one.
that's right.
But our representative could do it to a.
If you can get it through the legislature.
Right.
Yeah, he's not gonna do it individually,
Right,
but
right.
it's a legislative act, so.
Because it's just gonna keep coming up, you know, if this goes and they do build one here, of course, you know, it's
Yeah.
gonna be somewhere else local, because all of a sudden, oh, Covington County's got two. But like I said, to help protect the people of the
Chris-
whole county, not just these, but everybody else.
Chris may be right. Tax abatement may be where it stops, and that's what early on, I think that we all felt like that was the case. We've not yet been approached about tax abatements. Geneva County, Henry County had a project proposed there, and they granted abatements and then backpedaled and ungranted them, and that project, I think, was stalled. So you may be right. That may be the thing that kills
The
it.
thing about these projects and about electricity is you don't store it. If Alabama Power is requesting another power creator or power producer, then there is some type of entity on their grid that they foresee is going to need more power. So Origis is under a time schedule here. If you give in and allow them to build this project, it might be a business in Mobile that requires, help me Shannon, 80 gigawatts, that they foresee being built in the next decade. They're looking for a power creator on their grid that they can get that power to. They can't store that electricity. So if Oakey Ridge says we're not going to have it, and the Covington County Commission says we're not going to abate taxes, they're going to go to the next community and try to get taxes abated. They can build this project for nothing, using federal aid, like Kenneth has said, and they're going to move on because they know that they have to have this power created. You don't store it, you create it and ship it on down the line. So if we don't make it easy for them to build in Covington County, they won't do it. They'll look for a community that will abate the taxes.
That was actually said, and it was said when the commission voted in the abatements for the wing project, and I posted that article, where the commission, along with Origis Energy, agreed that Covington County was a future for solar. So, I mean, now I know that some of y'all wasn't on the commission at the time, some of you was. And I'm not throwing fault because there wasn't a lot of study. Obviously, I don't feel like anybody involved in that at the time was looked into it to really know the consequences it was going to come from. Surely not the people of Wing, because I said it last time and I'll say it again. Show up at Wing at the store down there at 5 o'clock in the morning and mention solar, that you're for it. You better be ready to run. Them folks ain't happy. They're not happy at all. I go through there every single day. And I even took my work stickers off my truck so they wouldn't think I was associated with it. But y'all have the authority on the abatements. And I've heard it said time and time again that y'all don't think you're going to do it. I mean, I think what we're here for is we want to know what you're going to do. We don't want to hear I think or maybe. How would y'all vote?
We can't poll outside of a public meeting, but in a public meeting, we can certainly poll and go on record. So if the commission would like to go on record, I'll ask the question and we'll poll the commission and see if you support or do not support a tax abatement. If y'all are inclined to vote on that, I think it'd be appropriate, and then maybe that would give us some satisfaction. Kenneth?
No.
Mike?
No.
Tommy?
Not no, but no.
Lynn?
Thank you, no.
No, and mine is a no also. So that's what I, with that in mind though, let me just address one thing as we wrap up. I think we beat this to death. We have no authority is what we're telling you, except for tax abatements. We've not been asked. If we are asked, you've heard the position of the commission. There have been a couple of Facebook posts made by a local resident that have implied several false things, and I just think it's important for this. All of you I consider friends. Some of you are my family, and so I want to respond to this because otherwise I don't have a forum to do that. One thing that's been suggested is that Greg White's having private negotiations with Origis about their proposed project in the Oakey Ridge community, and I haven't. I have not had. Number two, that I've met with Origis representatives in my local business, which is the Bluebird Coffee Shop. I never have. I've only met once concerning the Oakey Ridge project with Origis, and that was along with 3 other commissioners 2 or 3 weeks ago when all of us met here. All 4 commissioners met with them that day. Three others were in the meeting I was in. Number 3, that I'm negotiating with them and promising tax abatements. I've not. I've made the same statement to them that we've made here today. Number 4, that I'm expecting a payoff. This was implied in so many words, that I'm expecting a payoff for my support of their project. I've never received a penny in over 20 years of public service on the commission, never been offered a penny in those 20 years of public service on this commission. I'm disgusted that somebody would imply that, because my integrity is important to me just like it is for all of you. I don't think any commissioner up here is subject to being bribed to vote a certain way. They certainly have a right to change their position that they expressed today, because we didn't vote on a motion before us. They could change it. I don't expect any of them will, no matter what was offered. I don't expect Origis to make an offer to get us to change our vote. I just don't know that tax abatement is the final decision maker for them. Knowing how things have developed across the Southeast in the last 3 or 4 years since the wing project was put on the books, I'm not sure that the abatements are the deal killer. They may be, but I'm not sure that it is. But if it is a deal killer, then I think the deal will be killed. That's all the authority we have. We're going to take a 5-minute recess. Yes, sir. Sure.
I want to say this to the group and say this to you. At least we know now that you stand with us.
That's right.
And that's all we can ask for.
All right, we'll take a recess for, we'll say 10 minutes. Sure. Lynn is the county engineer, so we'll give him the floor.
You know, all I want to say is, the county, I said, people live in town, Florida people, California people, out-of-town people move here. And the one question they ask, why don't you have building permits? Why we don't have to pull a building permit? We don't have to do this. You don't have to do anything to get it. And that's what makes this county great. I do like the fact of that. But we tried to pass just a simple building permit process years ago, and we had only more than this that was against it. So, and like Mrs. Aronson said, unless we have a zoning or planning, because the only jurisdiction we have is the county commission and myself. It's the commission that votes on it, but I kind of facilitate the subdivisions. The only time we have authority is that if someone breaks down land less than 3 acres. We have another development, Rainier's doing right now on Old Salt Road. It's more than 3 acres, so it's out of our jurisdiction. So the only authority we have, literally, is anything that's a subdivision's being broken down less than that. So
Less than 3 acre lots.
So that's 3 acre lots.
So, and we do have flood zone permitting.
Yes, and that's the reason we try to get the permitting process started with. We don't know where people are building. If you don't know where people are building, you may have a home already built.
Yeah,
And
flood
before I
plain.
know in a flood zone, we got no way of knowing. So I can't go out and police and look around every oak tree if a house is being built in the county. And that's the only reason we did that back in the day, was to have a little bit of knowledge of that. We don't have a logging ordinance in the county. We don't have any of that kind of stuff right now. So this county is wide open for anything that comes in here. A lot of times, more red tape, more paperwork can be aggravating. And I like the fact that sometimes we don't, but at the same time, that same paper will actually protect you. So it will protect our communities. But until we do that, there's not a lot we can do. Like we tried to pass a building permit process just to track people. And it wasn't a fee or anything. People saw us just go over and get money from the county. That was not the case. We were just trying to find where people were building. So, but planning and zoning is the only way to actually try to cut this stuff off in the future.
Yeah.
So unless the whole county gets behind it, then this stuff's going to continue. You don't have any kind of jurisdiction.
And Lynn's referring to our county, but that's statewide. That's not just Covington. That's every county with very few exceptions in the state of Alabama.
I was just asking Greg if the tax abatements, if they come in and we do get the taxes from it, I know at one time the guy tried to say the school system, of course you can't make those taxes, what was it, $9 million over the period of 40 years or something like that, 20 years, something like that. So if they did come in, Greg, could you maybe Chuck would have an idea of what they would bring in the county if us collecting taxes on it?
Sure, yeah, it's easy calculation. You just take the value times the assessment rate of 20%, then multiply times the millage, which is 0.27 in the county. So we can calculate that real easy. We just need to know. I think the one down in Wing was over $100 million. What I think we had on the books for that.
It was.
And I wanted to say one thing. I don't know if this matters, but it does to me. I don't want it in this community close to these houses. Raynier's got a lot of land in Covington County. We got 50,000 acres of land in Covington County. Why can't they try to search for a place between Ott and Florella or somewhere down in Jackson Entry where there's no homes or nobody, you know, and try to do it there? I know they want a power line running next to it, but Alabama Power can run a power line in there to get the power down the road somewhere or something. I mean, that may be on the August 21st meeting that y'all can suggest, you know, or we suggest that they get somewhere where there's nobody there.
I've already seen paperwork on, you know, trying to get one in Red Button. Landowners actually already doing.
We have, we beat it pretty good. Let's take about a 10-minute recess. We'll come back at 10:15. I'm gonna let Lynn have the last word and we'll break till 10:15.
We did ask in the little meeting, what's that been, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago? It's the first time I'd ever met Mr. Nathan, whomever he was. I told some folks he's a little Yankee fella, so y'all get ready. But I asked, why did you choose this spot? I mean, I don't understand it. I haven't understood it any of the time. Out of everywhere in Covington County, we're going to Okie Ridge. That made no sense. To be honest with y'all, I never got an answer. He never could tell me why, how it come about. The only two things he said was, there's power lines that Alabama Power, I'm assuming, own, and there's large tracts of land. Well, now, y'all, there's large tracts of land, just like you just said, that Rainier has all over this county. So that made no sense to me. But no matter how we tried to pinpoint something, he would not come up with an answer for it. And y'all, there's a reason. That's what I want to know, is who designed this in the first place, who thought this was such a great idea, and I just want to know why. But that's just stirring another pot, so, but that's my point, and I'll be at your meeting.
We'll recess for 10
whatever
minutes.
good
Thank
it
you.
is.